You spend most of the time drinking coffee and hanging out and meditating, and you already have to unwind?
Okay, hold on. This motherfucker gets on his show, and yes, he does have a team. This is the Daily Wire, baby. They are loaded. He gets in there, they tell him the like 10 topics he has to talk about. He films for an hour, and then he's done. That's his life. That's Matt Walsh. He comes in there. Matt Walsh is not behind the scenes editing. Matt Walsh is not behind the scenes writing, researching, being like, it's basically like, what do I say? What do I do? All right, here we go. Yeah, I hate trans kids.
Time. Elon Musk is scheduled to take the reins over Twitter, I believe, on Friday. That's when the deal is supposed to be official, and he'll actually be in charge of Twitter. The left obviously is panicking over it, and they're panicking because
yeah, it's happening. I don't know. Roll of the dice, baby. Here we go. Let's see. You know, anything can happen. He's a wild card, you know. Hey, maybe it'll work out for everyone. He'll suddenly be like, we want to start paying all of the creators for creating the content on the platform. I think it's probably the best if we did profit sharing with every single one of them. Maybe I should just redistribute the ownership of this to all the users themselves. And that way it actually truly is like, you know, the world town square. Maybe that could happen.
No, they rely so much on.
It's probably going to be not a lot of changes, and then it gets a little bit worse and a little bit worse and gets used less and less and less until it fills up with crypto bros, cryptocurrency updates, and Donald Trump will be back. That's more likely what's going to happen.
Suppressing speech and that is
all.
All
is horrifying, but dull. Oh my god! Holy shit! You weren't kidding. All right, hold on. Need some horror movie music. Here. Yeah. What is going on right here? Well, that's my doll. I call that doll Mother. Hello, Mother. Did I do good? Did I get all the hospitals to get bomb threats, Mother? I know you love me now. Yeah, that's horrifying. I mean, Halloween is just around the corner, but oh man.
Service to kind of this pretending that there is a consensus on an issue when there really isn't. As some people have called it on Twitter, manufacturing a consensus. That's the great value that Twitter has for.
There's merch. It's called Sweet Baby Gang. Bought the Matt Walsh Show Sweet Baby Gang vintage t-shirt, Matt Walsh shirt, Baby Gang shirt, children's shirt, cute Baby Gang gift shirt, Sweet Baby Gang.
For the left, and that all social media does, that big tech has for them, is by pretending, by putting their own views out there and creating an environment where it seems like everyone agrees with their position when really they don't. And that can be a very convincing thing to people when we spend so much time on social media and there's one point of view that you see everywhere you turn and another point of view which might be your own, which you don't see represented at all.
Get to the point, goddamn fucking opposing echo chamber snowflakes. I know what you're trying to say.
Trick you into believing that well, you must be very much in the minority, and if you're in the minority, you must be wrong. But they manufacture this by suppressing all other opinions. Now they're afraid that's going to go out the window.
I think he does like an hour tops of live streaming every day. I think he's just like, he knocks the whole thing out in an hour, gets all his transphobic segments in. Yeah, so he streams for about an hour. That's the length. Just judging by this one little clip, the one they decided to use is like, oh yeah, this is the segment. This will do well. Like, the fact that this person is so boring, it really shows you why Matt has to be one of the probably worst and most like horrifyingly disgusting transphobes out there. Because like otherwise, what is there? You know, that like you're not in any way entertaining. You're not in any way like provocative. Half the shit you say is like the most asinine take on any given subject. You're very, very fucking boring to listen to. Like you would have nothing.
So Elon Musk showed up at Twitter headquarters yesterday.
I guess that's kind of like what Elijah Schaffer is trying to do outside of like, allegedly sexually harassing and touching people, is that he's trying to be like, if I just say the worst, most horrifying thing, maybe then I'll be considered like the bad boy of the right.
He posted a quick video showing him carrying a sink into the building. Here's that video.
Let that sink in.
So I get it because he let that sink in is the pun. I think I'm always a fan. I'm always an apologist for all forms of dad jokes. Now, we previously talked about Musk's reported
Of course, that tracks.
plan to fire a huge portion of the staff, which is a great idea. It's even a better idea than the pun, and the pun was a fantastic idea. And it's even better
Wow, it's getting a lot of mileage. Elon, you know your crowd. You play to your crowd.
idea in light of this. Here's a video that libs of TikTok.
Yeah, I could just see the two of them meeting, and Elon like shows up, and he's got like a toy hand. He's like, "Allow me to lend you a hand." It's like, sorry, I wasn't expecting. Oh, I really wasn't expecting. Wow. Oh, give me a second here. I can't breathe. You nailed that one. Oh, wow.
Found and posted. This is another one of those TikTok videos where somebody goes through their daily routine. I have no idea why this is a trend, why these videos are so popular, but they are. So here is the daily routine of a Twitter employee. Watch.
Welcome to a day in my life as a Twitter employee. So this past week, went to SF for the first time at a Twitter office, badged in. Honestly, took a moment to just soak everything in. What a blessing. Also started my morning off with an iced matcha from the perch. Then I had a meeting, so quickly scheduled one of these little pods.
Matt, this is cringe as fuck. Not gonna fight you. This is cringe as fuck. Unbelievably cringe. So cringe. This is just fucking nuclear levels of cringe. My God. Not only did you decide to like, do you think this way, but then record it, put it on, and then just send it out there, and like, oh God, yeah. No, this is the cringiest cringe that ever cringed. That being said, does this person deserve to be fired for cringe? No. If we fired people for cringe, my word, we wouldn't have a workforce. Like it would just everyone could be cringed now and then. Who amongst us has not cringed? I know I've cringed. Come on, we all cringe from time to time. We can all be a little cringy. It's the human condition. Come on, dog. Doesn't deserve to be fired though. You know, cringe or not. But yes, unbelievably cringe.
Rooms, which were so cool. They're literally noise canceling. Took my meeting, got ready for lunch. Look how delicious this food looks. Oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed. Then made my way down to this log cabin area. I don't know what this is, but it was really cool. Played some foosball with my friends to kind of unwind a bit. Also found this really cool meditation room that I thought was super neat. I didn't do any yoga, but they have this yoga room if you are a yogi, so also thought that was really cool. Had a couple more meetings in the afternoon.
You know, like, and don't get me wrong, I think it would be wonderful if businesses were not only cooperatively owned by the people who work in them, but also had a whole bunch of things that they provide to their employees, such as, you know, health benefits, stuff like that. All great things. I think the problem with like corporate, what's a good way to say it? Kind of like the corporate family ideal, which you will see in a lot of tech companies, is this idea that they try to sell you on. We're not just coworkers. We're a family. And not only are we a family, we're a brand and a lifestyle. Part of that lifestyle is I want every single one of you, all of you, my brothers and sisters and non-binaries, because we're also, you know, aware of things. So I want all of you to wake up in the morning and we're going to get up early, 6 or 7 a.m. and we all do yoga together. Bonding session. Oh, it'll be fucking amazing. We all bond. It'll be great. Then we all go out for iced mocha frappuccinos made with soy, because we only use soy. That's going to be awesome too. And then we go and then we hit the gym a little bit. Then we go have another nutritious vegan lunch. And then we go out and like it's this weird false sense of connection in order to be able to make more profit. That's it. There's nothing behind the veil. It's just, again, to indoctrinate all of them to think that they are like, how else do you fleece people for their fucking you know, profits than you know, convince them that they're part of a greater thing, a movement, if you will, a family.
And had a ton of projects that we needed to knock out. Say hi to my teammates.
The moment the family talk comes out, I mentally hit a break. Oh, same. Every job I've ever had, even from like the minimum wage fucking fast food ones, all the way up to working in like actual like movie studios. Anytime you start getting a whiff of that, like the boss pulls you in, he's like, you know, we really like you, and we like a lot of the work that you're doing, and you know, we've just been thinking that maybe you'd like to accept a little bit more responsibility and start to kind of see this as less of a work environment and more of a family. And you're like,
the library to kind of get some more work done. Obviously had to have our afternoon coffee, so made some espresso. And then before leaving for the day, had some red wine that's on tap. Went up to the rooftop and just honestly enjoyed the beautiful weather. So awesome trip.
No work was done at all. Well, she had a meeting. So she had a meeting for 15 minutes. I think there's a lot of fat we can trim here. I really think that there is. So he wants to fire 75% of employees. I think he probably fired 90% and we would be fine.
Do you know what TikTok is, Matt? You watch them with so much anger, so much. Do you know what Instagram? Do you know what people do when they make social media reels? They're kind of like they're showing you idealized versions of themselves. It's not literally what her workload is every day. You don't just drink wine on the roof at Twitter. The company wouldn't exist as it is today if every single employee was. Did you notice a lot of employees up on the roof when she filmed that scene on the roof? Did you notice anyone at all who's also drinking? Was it just like a sea of wasted fucking liberal elites just enjoying their lives?
I love how she says that she had to unwind by playing some foosball with her friends. Unwind? You got to work an hour ago. You spent most of the time drinking coffee and hanging out and meditating, and you already have to unwind?
Okay, hold on. This motherfucker gets on his show, and yes, he does have a team. This is fucking the Daily Wire, baby. They are loaded. He gets in there, they tell him the 10 topics he has to talk about. He films for an hour, and then he's done. That's his life. That's Matt Walsh. He comes in there. Matt Walsh is not fucking behind the scenes editing. Matt Walsh is not behind the scenes writing, researching, being like, it's basically like, what do I say? What do I do? All right, here we go. Yeah, I hate trans
kids. If you have
kids.
time for yoga and foosball and meditation during the workday, you aren't needed. Okay? Good rule of thumb there. If I was an employer, I might put all of that stuff in the office just so that I can fire whoever uses it. It gives people an opportunity to sort of tell on themselves. I think it's actually a brilliant idea. The more that I think about this, it's really not a bad idea. Have a swimming pool, have a hot tub, have a water park, have lounge chairs and reading material and all that kind of stuff. Have a room that says like it's the Netflix room, and you can just sit there and browse Netflix and watch Netflix movies. And anyone caught using any of that is fired automatically. I'm half joking. Well, I'm not really joking at all. I would do that. But the point is that if you don't want to be fired, if you want to have job security, and this is not just
if you fired, like you just proposed, 95% of your staff at a company that has thousands and thousands of staff members, especially one that is in crucial elements of technology, the entire thing would collapse, Matt. The entire business would. The amount of onboarding you would have to do for new recruits that you would have to hire and then be like, hey, we are looking for people who have a stringent work ethic and are not willing to like party in this weird atmosphere that we've created. And then you'd have to teach all of them a lot of stuff about what exactly your company does and how it does it. And there's a lot of learning to be done. That period between those two things, yeah, you don't do that. You don't just fire 95% of the staff.
a lesson for Twitter employees. It's for everybody. You have to make yourself irreplaceable. As irreplaceable as possible. I mean, the reality is that nobody is totally irreplaceable, but
you're a YouTuber.
Your value to your employer increases.
Your job is YouTubing.
With the degree
I have the same job.
Of your irreplaceability, okay?
I know what you do, Matt.
If they can find just anyone off the street to do your job, then you have almost no value as an employee, sadly. It's just, that's the reality of it. It's not very, it might not be nice to think about, but it is. If they can find anyone else, if they can pull anybody else in and have them do it, then you just don't have a lot of value. Now, if they would have extreme difficulty finding someone who can bring what you bring to the table, then you have immense value.
And I was thinking, what was his job before this? Wasn't he a shock jock? He was like a shock jock for like a local radio station. Like, acting as if he's like, oh, these fucking useless employees, fucking drinking wine, what the fuck? I saw the TikTok.
Which means you have bargaining power and you have leverage. Speaking of which, I just saw so Starbucks has a union now. The Starbucks employees have unionized, and they were complaining earlier this week because they were trying to have a meeting with Starbucks management, Starbucks corporate management, and the corporate walked out of the meeting. And they complained, and they said they just got up and walked out. They wouldn't negotiate. Well, this again goes back to you have to have leverage. You have to have bargaining power. And if you work at Starbucks, for example, there are a lot of people who can do that. And so you just don't have a lot of leverage. Twitter employees especially don't understand this.
I love how there's always that argument from right-wing capitalists, but it's like, if that was the case, then why is there so many cases of people like massive droughts in areas like, I'll tell you a local example, Whistler, Squamish areas where there's like actual like skiing resorts being built. They have a massive problem staffing positions at minimum wage because, surprise, surprise, the cost of living is so high up there that minimum wage jobs, well, anyone can do it, according to Matt, it's still very difficult to make ends meet. It's not as if your life is easy. I mean, that's something that I think should be definitely a factor in all this. If you are working at a minimum wage job, and I've worked minimum wage jobs, they fucking suck. The hours go by so slowly. You hate the company, your boss, every aspect of it. And if you're not respected at work, that makes everything infinitely worse. If you're not paid well, if you don't have any kind of benefits or anything like that, yeah, those jobs become absolutely horrifying. And that doesn't make them easy. It's not as if it's easy just because the amount of training is less than, say, a job that has way more complex years and years and years of requirements to be able to accomplish it.
And what they think is they can just make demands. So this is from Time, okay? Time magazine has this. Employees at Twitter are circulating an open letter protesting Elon Musk's plan to fire as much as 75% of the company's workforce as the deadline for him to complete his $44 billion acquisition of the company looms. Time has learned.
Turned out he's doing what he always does, which is just memeing, and he's not going to fire 75% of the workforce. And I guess part of that maybe because he was hoping to devalue the value a little bit before he was forced to buy it. I don't know. It's hard to tell with that.
Musk must complete the acquisition by Friday or face the resumption of a lawsuit in Delaware court. The plan is that he will eradicate the jobs of nearly 75% of Twitter staff, reducing headcount from 7,500 to just 2,000, according to the Washington Post. Now, here's the letter that they're circulating. It says, staff, Elon Musk, and board of directors. We, the undersigned Twitter workers, believe the public conversation is in jeopardy. Elon Musk's plan, the public conversation is in jeopardy because it's not going to be suppressed anymore. The public conversation is in jeopardy when more people are allowed to participate in it. It's very similar to how we're going to face the end of democracy if too many Republicans participate in it and vote for Republicans. That's the end of democracy. So it's the end of the public conversation if there are too many people involved in the conversation. Elon Musk's plan to lay off 75% of Twitter workers will hurt Twitter's ability to serve the public conversation. A threat of this magnitude is reckless, undermines our users and customers' trust in our platform, and
it's baffling to me because this is the same crowd that's always about, like, is it just because it's liberals? Is it, if we don't like the business, we just don't want people to have jobs, we want people to be unemployed, or we want people to be homeless because we hate the company? Like, I don't find any consistencies with the right. Doesn't matter if it's like abortions and then being like, oh, I actually paid for a couple abortions in my past, but I don't think anyone should have a right to do it now. Or it's like, yeah, I care about jobs, I care about the economy, I care about capitalism, I care about people having high-paying, good-paying jobs. Certainly, yes, definitely. Unless they're working for a liberal company, then no. Like, you don't hear people on the left being like, I hope every person who works at Chick-fil-A gets fired tomorrow because you know they're a bunch of homophobes, that Chick-fil-A. So I hope every single employee of Chick-fil-A gets fired tomorrow and has trouble finding work or insurance or medicine because fuck them, because fuck that company. You know, ultimately it's about sending a message.
A transparent act of worker intimidation. Twitter has significant effects on societies and communities across the globe. As we speak, Twitter is helping to uplift independent journalism in Ukraine and Iran, as well as powering social movements around the world. A threat to workers at Twitter is a threat to Twitter's future. These threats have an impact on us as workers and demonstrate a fundamental disconnect with the realities of operating Twitter. They threaten our livelihoods, access to essential healthcare, and the ability for visa holders to stay in the country they work in. We cannot do our work in an environment of constant harassment and threats. Without our work, there is no Twitter. Well, yeah, but the point is that many of you don't need to do your work anymore because you're going to be fired. So I don't even understand. If you fire us, we will not be able to do our work at Twitter. Well, yeah, that's the whole point.
Oh man, great assessment, Professor Walsh. No, you won't need to work because you'll be fired from your jobs. Fire all of you liberals. I hate you.
You're not needed. We, the workers at Twitter, will not be intimidated. We recommit to supporting the communities, organizations, and businesses who rely on Twitter. We will not stop serving the public conversation. Well, you will if you get fired. Then you will. That's how it works. We call on Twitter management and Elon Musk to cease these negligent layoff threats. As workers, we deserve concrete commitments so we can continue to preserve the integrity of our platform. We demand of current and future leadership respect. We demand leadership to respect the platform and the workers who maintain it by committing to preserving the current headcount. safety. We demand that leadership does not discriminate against workers on the basis of their race, gender, disability, sexual orientation, or political beliefs. Oh, now they're worried about people being discriminated against based on political beliefs. We also demand safety for workers on visas. We will be forced to leave the country, or who will be forced to leave the country if they work and if they're laid off. Protection. We demand Elon Musk explicitly commit to preserve our benefits, those both listed in the merger agreement and not. We demand leadership to establish and ensure fair severance policies for all workers before and after any change in ownership. We demand transparent, prompt, and thoughtful communication around our working conditions. We demand to be treated with dignity and to not be treated as mere pawns.
I mean, it'd be awesome if they unionized. That would be a hell of a fucking move right when Elon takes power. Because, yeah, you would have to do it en masse. But if you did it collectively en masse and you had the numbers, it would be an absolute disaster for Elon Musk to completely be like, all right, we're going full scab then. Because again, my thing with this is that with technology companies, you can't just instantly scab someone. Like, you need to be able to train new people and to understand what exactly and how your systems and architecture work. As well as, like, there's obviously security protocols and all that kind of stuff. So it would be a good opportunity for them to do that.
In a game played by billionaires. Okay. Again, these demands mean nothing.
Elon's secret socialist acceleration is confirmed. Could you imagine?
If you have no leverage. And notice how they never even try to pretend that they have leverage. They didn't say, here's what we bring to the company, okay? Here's what we do every day, and you need us to do this, and here's what will happen if you get rid of us. Here are all the bad things that will happen to the company, and to the company's bottom line without us.
Keffels is the worst thing to happen to MAGA communism. Keffels. Dr. Mecha Gorilla comment. For the love of God, gorillas, stop fucking retweeting thirst trap pics Keffels is posting. Nobody needs to see, oh God, misgendering in their feeds. I'm the worst thing to happen to MAGA communism. Real Marxists would use the science of dialectical materialism to analyze the contradictions and correctly come to the synthesis that I'm not gay if balls aren't touching and I do not have balls. It is the dialectical. It's true.
Okay, here's what will happen if you don't have us doing
wanted.
yoga and eating hummus all day. This is the catastrophe level 2. They didn't really do that. Instead, they just went right to playing the victim card, emotional blackmail. If you fire us, it'll make us feel bad. That's their argument. You know, it probably won't work. If you get called into the office and the boss lets you know, listen, it's not working out, we got to go our separate ways. You can't do that. Why can't I do it? Because I don't like it. It makes me feel bad to be fired. Okay, well, sorry to hear that. Anyway, here.
I think genuinely, if you had a 7-year-old and you put like a fake beard on the 7-year-old and then had a 7-year-old do this segment and give them as much prep as Matt Walsh had, as in like, hey, okay, so this is what Twitter is. Twitter's employees are worried about being fired. This is how many are being fired. And then just watch the segment roll out. It would have been more on point than this. It would have been more astute. It would have had better fucking a thought process behind it. It would have reached a conclusion. It wouldn't have just been like, you want to be fired? You know you don't want to be fired. Well, you're fired. I know you didn't want to be fired, but no job anymore, so you're fired. Like it would be better than this. I contend that. I think it would be better. But what about the baby doll? I don't know what the baby doll is. It's creepy as fuck. Everything about Matt Walsh is creepy as fuck, okay? The guy's a pedophile defender. Like, he's a professional pedophile defender. He defends pedophiles for money. And if you're like, Lance, can you back that up with evidence? Yeah, he wrote an article for The Blaze about how Josh Duggar is misunderstood. He's a pedophile. And it's weird you would do that.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.